My name's Andrew Atkinson and I'm the prospective parliamentary candidate for the Conservative Party here in Wrexham, and I'm standing here for a number of reasons. In this seat, it's my hometown, I love it here, this is where we live, and there's a lot of things that I want to make changes about, including the town centre and what we're talking about today, mobile phone coverage. We've got a serious problem with mobile phone coverage and 3G and 4G, or lack thereof, data connectivity in Wrexham, and it's a really big problem. If you're a business, it's a huge problem. If you want to, access the internet, or you want to make a phone call, just going about your daily routines in and around Wrexham and the surrounding areas, it's a real problem because you can't do it reliably on numerous networks. And if you want to do it socially, it's a huge problem as well. More and more people don't want to wait till they get home to access the internet or Facebook, or they want to find out a bus time or something as they're going through the streets. They use 3G. And this is the trouble that we've got. People are paying for a service in Wrexham that they're not always getting, because 20.2% of Wrexham falls into what is referred to as a partial not spot. So that's where you might be with one network and you get no signal at all in that area. So you imagine, as you move around Wrexham, the chance of being in one of those partial not spots is incredibly high. As you move from place to place, you could quite often, as I do, find yourself in one of those not spots. You get a signal here, you go down the road, you don't get a signal, and it's a nightmare. It's a utility now. People rely upon it in a way that they didn't. And you can see the sort of expanse of the networks as people have started to, everybody has a mobile phone now pretty much. So people have become incredibly reliant on it, and that's put the networks under pressure. But the networks are taking our money. They're taking our money to provide a service, and we need to make sure that the consumers get what they pay for. The government's actually announced a landmark deal, and it's fantastic, because what it has done, it's committed all of the networks to voluntarily spend £5 billion on infrastructure and making sure that these problems are fixed, are sorted, are mitigated. And that means that we're going to have, by 2016, 2017, we're going to see a whole lot of work going to make sure that these partial not spots are eliminated, and that you can get full voice or text in 90% of the area with all networks, all the main networks. And that is fantastic, because that means a lot of the problem that we're facing now will have disappeared, and it will have been fixed. My issue is making sure that we don't suffer in the interim, as we are at the moment. Between 2016, 2017 and now, we're still facing these problems in our day-to-day routine. And I see my role as holding the network's feet to the fire to make sure that they feel the pressure, they feel that consumer pressure, and that we get some action. One of the things that we spoke to the Secretary of State about when he came was consumer pressure, because the natural thing to do, and he's right in saying this, is that you can take your business elsewhere. The difficulty that we've got in Wrexham is you don't know if another network is going to be as bad or better than the one you've got, and you don't really have a try before you buy when you get into 12-month contracts. So you can often be stuck in a contract to experience and find out, whether it was any better. And the real difficulty that we've got for people in Wrexham, and this is where it gets incredibly infuriating, is when people have these problems. They say, I'm not getting any 3G, I'm not getting any signal at all today, what the heck is going on? And they get in touch with their network, and the reply, and I've seen this quite regularly, the reply from the networks are, there's nothing wrong with the mast in your area, this mast, blah, 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 number is showing sort of full signal, there's no issues at all, therefore there are no problems. Now, if you're being told there's no problems, when there are problems, there's nothing more infuriating. And that's where I want to come in, as I was saying, in holding the network's feet to the fire and making sure that we get the best possible deal for everybody and trying to eliminate these problems altogether. So I'm working with one of our North Wales Assembly members, a lady called Antoinette Sambach, who's done quite a bit on this herself. So we want to be identifying all of the different not spots around the county, seeing where you get signal with different networks, but actually then, when we hear these stories coming forward from other people, these nightmare stories about they just don't get it and they're being told that they are, and they're still continuing to pay a bill for a service they can't access, we're going to be contacting Ofcom on behalf of all the consumers to say, these are the issues we're experiencing in Wrexham, and we want a combined joint approach to say, we need to get these sorted out. This is what the networks are saying. This is what the consumers are experiencing. I'd love it if people could get in touch with me. If anybody feels that they want to get in touch and explain any issues that they're having, my email address is andrew4wrexham@gmail.com, and if you want to just please send me any issues, tell me where you live, give us as much detail as possible, and that we can get onto that and have a look into that.